We're all still praying and hoping for the best for Bills safety Damar Hamlin while he's in critical condition after going into cardiac arrest during Monday Night Football. Well, Matt Parrino is a Bills beat writer for Syracuse.com, and he's done multiple interviews throughout the day on Hamlin, and he joins us now with any possible updates and to talk about who Damar Hamlin is as a person. Matt, I see you sitting in the car right now in the parking lot of the hospital where he is right now. Just to backtrack a little bit, you were at the game last night. What did you see happen? Like, what do you know now? And there are any team updates or just updates on his health right now as you sit in the parking lot of the hospital?
Yeah, the scene at the game yesterday was, panic, fear, anxiousness as, he was down on the ground and, being administered oxygen and, the a minute, 2 minutes turned into 15 before they actually got him into the ambulance, onto the stretcher, and then into the ambulance. And, the reaction from the players, like, who have been around football their whole lives. I mean, think about it. They start, pee-wee football. They probably start hitting like 6, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. They've probably been around it for more than a decade. And you see a lot of big hits. You're around the game that way, and you just kind of conditioned to it a little bit. Well, there was nothing that could condition anybody for what those players were looking at on the field with their brother, Damar Hamlin, who is about as loved a player in that locker room. Sometimes guys that maybe aren't like superstars or everyday starters. I mean, he rose into that role of a starter when Micah Hyde was injured earlier this season. Sometimes you just don't know how important those guys are to the fabric of a locker room until something like this happens, or the more time you spend around them, the more time microphones are in their face and they're being interviewed and after games. And man, everybody that has come out since this has happened, speaking to not the football player, Damar Hamlin's a good football player, but the amazing person that he was and how much he means to everybody, in that building. The latest update, he remains in critical condition here at UC Medical Center in downtown Cincinnati. The family came out with a statement a little over an hour ago saying that, they're grateful and thankful for all of the donations, the support, the love that has been shared, but that they don't have any updates right now. And so now we're just kind of waiting for any type of new information that is to come on tomorrow.
Yeah, we all wait patiently in prayer for those updates. Last night, this is something that's really buzzing on social media right now. The NFL has claimed that there was no plan to restart that game. And on TV, we heard repeatedly ESPN's coverage on Monday Night Football saying that the players were given a heads up for 5 minutes to restart that game. Can you kind of give us an update on what you've heard on these claims?
Yeah, and it's that the story is developing and it's evolving. And last night, Troy Vincent came out, the EVP, played 14 years in the NFL. He's the EVP of game day operations, and definitively said it was ridiculous that anybody would make the assertion that the NFL ever considered for a moment restarting that game. Now, fans that were watching the broadcast heard Joe Buck say that the players were out on the field and were going to get a 5-minute warm up before the game was to start again. Now, the Bengals never came off of their bench, and eventually, seconds later, a minute later, however long it was, Zach Taylor, credit to him, walked over to Sean McDermott and they conferred with the officials. And then obviously they made the wise decision, and the league was apparently involved. ESPN just came out with a statement here in the last 20 minutes that said they were in direct communication with the league. They were made it a point not to guess, I'm paraphrasing there, on anything that was happening on the field. They were taking their direction from the league. So, yeah, it definitely doesn't add up there. I don't know if the idea may have been for the NFL to get the players in a warm-up while they figured things out. And to a degree, Brandon, I can understand that because it is a real-time, once-in-a-generational kind of event. I mean, this is something I've covered football for 5 years. I covered the UFC, MMA for 5 years. I've been around violent sports and big-time knockouts and hits, and I've never seen anything like that before. I agree with Troy Vincent, who played 14 years and also said he'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm a son of a football coach. I grew up on football sidelines, played in the NFL for a little bit of time in the CFL. Never seen anything like that happen. So I can see why two sides would kind of scramble when it comes to, or when it came to, what to do next. And one thing that we're learning throughout all this is who Damar Hamlin is as a person. You're seeing all types of videos of him throughout social media, some of the things he's done in the community. You've covered this team for quite some time. Who is Damar Hamlin as a person?
He's the ultimate giver, right? Like, and I think you need a healthy amount of those in an NFL locker room, right? Because there's going to be guys that are superstars, get a lot of the attention, but to create the culture that Sean McDermott has and Brandon Beane have really perfected in their 6 seasons in Buffalo, you need guys that are willing to come in and do things behind the scenes that bring people together. And the way, the reverence in which the players are talking about him, Roger Saffold came out, just called him just such a giving person. Tommy Sweeney, backup tight end, talked about his experiences with him in a statement just recently as we were kind of going live here. And, I went back and listened to the post-draft conference call we had with him, and he was 6th-round pick, day 3 pick, and usually those are like 3 or 4 minute calls, and they're the basics, like, what do you think about getting into the NFL, and all the run-of-the-mill questions. And he was just so jazzed to answer all of them. Like, he was so excited for his opportunity, and he said, I don't care what I have to do. If they ask me to pass out water bottles on the bench at halftime and in between quarters, I'm going to do it. I'm selfless. I'm a team first guy. And that's what he's been. He's lived that motto. And, he filled in a huge role for them this year. Micah Hyde went out in week 2, and he's been their starting free safety ever since. He's learned on the job. Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator, said a couple weeks ago, it's starting to really come into focus for him, the communication piece on the field. And so, yeah, the football player, you hate to see it for what the work that he's put in that aspect, but just the human being, the man, the son, the grandson, the brother, it's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man, because that's a moment where things are bigger than sports. The game is not going anywhere. The game of football is never going to go anywhere. But it's the chess pieces, the pawns, the people who play the game constantly changes. So for you to be able to humanize him just now and to really let fans know who he is with the helmet off, I thank you for that. Last but not least, I think there's some news that just dropped on if this game is going to be postponed, still played. What news or what updates can you give us on that?
Yeah, the NFL, Roger Goodell, the NFL's commissioner, he spoke with both teams, informed them that the game is not going to be resumed this week and that there is no plan in place for that game to be played. Nothing's been changed about Week 18, the slate of games that are on the schedule for this weekend. And the Bills, they have to play on Sunday against the New England Patriots in the season finale. And, they're professionals. They get paid to do this job. Sean McDermott is a really good coach at eliminating, the noise and getting the team to really focus through adversity. But this just feels different, man. Like, just seeing these pictures, tell the perfect story of what happened last night, what these men and women, staff members for the Bills as well, went through. And to expect them in 6 days to be able to turn around, really in 2 days, are they going to practice tomorrow? Are they going to practice Thursday? Are they going to be at a point with Damar Hamlin still sitting in a hospital here in Cincinnati in critical condition to be able to just return to work and get ready for that game? And are we at a place as an NFL community where we're okay with having a team coming off of a short week and maybe not getting a full week's worth of practice, putting them in a situation where it just might not be safe to play on Sunday? This is a developing story that I think it's really going to be complicated for the league and the teams.
Well, we're going to stay locked into you and other media personalities out there who are keeping us updated with these up-to-the-minute updates. And, Matt, we thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us, man.
Thank you for having me. Take care.